Welcome to the reaction to the third reading of the third chapter of How to Lose a Planet, the Afro-Future Epic. I still feel like I'm trying to get the hang of this whole YouTube series thing. But anyway, for this particular reading, what's interesting is I am a massive Star Wars geek. Just huge Star Wars fan. And I ended up watching the show The Expanse on Amazon Prime, where it's another sci-fi show, and their approach to space battles is a little bit more realistic in the sense that they don't have explosions in space. They don't have like starfighters doing like loop-de-loops and stuff like that because there's no atmosphere in space. And so when I learned about that, I went through this deep YouTube dive to learn about how realistic Star Wars was, or Star Wars dogfighting, pretty much, right? And I learned all that stuff. So like there's a line where it says like, if we could find a way to like do that much maneuvering in space without overheating the spaceship and cooking everybody inside. That's one of the little tidbits I learned about on YouTube, like why Star Wars is great movie making or action, but not tied to reality. Which isn't that important. It was just that like when I was writing the book, I wanted a dogfighting scene. I wanted a dogfighting scene in space. That's what I wanted. It's what I was gonna have. So I did it through virtual reality. I did it through this through this scene just so I could have some kind of space dogfighting, even though I know that my story wasn't going to be that kind of story where there's atmosphere in space. Although the whole idea of humanity destroying a planet and then traveling across the stars for untold amount of time and then surviving and landing on 7 moons is also pretty apocryphal. But you pick and choose your battles. I wanted my dogfight, so because I didn't want dogfighting in the story, it's not that kind of universe, I got the VR thing. I know that humanity most likely would not be able to successfully leave Earth and travel forever and find 7 moons to inhabit, but that's my story. That's what I wanted. So I got the best of both worlds. I guess the whole point behind that for me was just, I think one of the best things about writing in the age of the internet, especially in the age of the matured internet, like not like the internet in 1995 when things were still kind of crunchy and just still working itself out, is we have all these resources. Like we can do research. Like I just listened to scientists on YouTube talk about dogfighting in space, and I got it done. You know, I was able to put that story together, which I think is fascinating. I think research, my professor actually posted something on Facebook about a month ago, which is a really great point. He's talking about how like, you want to do a lot of research, but you don't want to get so deep in the weeds that the intricacy of your research almost pulls the reader out of the story. And what they meant by that was like, I'm trying to think of an example. So my professor's a guitar player, and he said he was reading a story where somebody was using very, very, very esoteric guitar playing terms in the story. And he knows those terms because he plays the guitar, but he also knew that somebody who didn't play the guitar would be aware of how much research the author did in that moment to be able to use those words. And he says, that's too much in the sense that you still want to be able to tell the story. Like the ultimate goal is to tell a story and to keep your audience engaged within the story. So you have all these moving parts behind the story, like research, like, I don't know, your own emotional state. And you don't want those things to hijack the story experience. For example, speaking about emotional state, I definitely read a book where the writing was incredible and beautiful, and I was really enjoying it. There was so much rape in this book, right? Like just so much. It actually made me think that the author was working on some issue that had nothing to do with the story. It actually pulled me out of the story. It was just that much sexual violence. I mean, yeah. So I mean, I guess that's my point. Just like all that stuff behind the story, the research, your intentions, all that stuff matters, and all that stuff does fuel your story. But you know, you also have to tell the story in a way that still feels like a story, that still engages your reader. That's it. That's my whole spiel. All right.